DC here. Hi guys. Okay, I'm talking to you today about the latest SpookyUniversity topic, which is smoking. Now, it's a topic that's for me a little bit complicated in a way. I've never been a smoker. I've been probably a very faithful passive smoker over the years because a lot of my family and friends have been smokers. But myself, no, I've never been one. Now, that doesn't mean though that I, would not have thought at one time, maybe to be a smoker or something like that. When I was a teenager, I was always rather impressed at the sociability of smokers. The fact that a smoker, the smokers would get in groups, automatically, they'd somehow discuss all the time, share topics, share their lighters or whatever. I mean, there was something that pushed them to get together and chat, and it used to fascinate me at the time. I used to find that there was something about smoking that was sociable, and I think actually that's probably at one point, even in a way, what a lot of smokers maybe ended up, probably pushing people to smoke. Now, I have, like I said, quite a few friends that are smokers, and through the work environment, they had to stop for whatever reasons. A good friend of mine was a very, very heavy chain smoker, and so we're talking about multiple packages a day. And he decided, okay, because of the work environment, he had to stop. So he stopped, and he gained a lot of weight, yes. Now the problem is here, actually, if you look at the whole thing, is that in a way, for people like him, I think the smoking had become very clearly an addiction. If you think about the biology that's going on, I mean, you've got nicotine, which is a substance in cigarettes, of course, which creates a certain amount of dependence. And you've got what you call receptors, I mean, parts of your brain, which react to that. So if you're smoking, you're making like a lot of nicotine, like the concentration of this stuff in your brain is strong. So what you call these receptors, these things that plug, where the nicotine plugs into, we could say, make it simple in a way, is that it grows. I'm simplifying, and it grows. So when you remove the nicotine, you've got all these receptors that's saying, please come and bind to me. And when they're not there, well, I mean, your body goes into a situation of dependence. I want my nicotine. It's just the same thing with any other drugs in a way. And I mean, it's the mechanism goes on, and I mean, it creates these these pleasure mechanisms that come through smoking, that come through sex, that come through a lot of things. I mean, it's related to substances called dopamine and so on. Anyway, that's for the biology in a little bit. So in a sense, I mean, it's kind of certain that, nicotine is a dependence. What I've noticed actually about this friend, and this is quite amusing, is that when he was a smoker, he was never sick. And since he stopped smoking, actually, he catches a lot of flus and viruses and so on. And in a way, I mean, as we were chatting, I mean, when you're smoking, I mean, you do take actually a lot of crud. I mean, you take a lot of junk that comes in through the cigarette. I know it gives taste and so on. That's another factor, I mean, about how you bring taste into your system. But on the other hand, I mean, the fact is that these are hostile environments also for germs. And actually, if you look, a lot of smokers, maybe it's anecdotal, but a lot of smokers tend to be less sick while they're smokers and become more sick after they stop. And very often it's because of that. I mean, like, they probably had a system, I mean, that was pretty resistant and was, I would say, a bug killer. One problem actually with the fact of the society going, I would say, smokeless with time, is the lack of tax revenue. I mean, I know cigarettes have become very expensive and everything, but on the other hand, I mean, like, cigarettes were bringing in a lot of tax money, at least here in Switzerland, a lot of tax money. And cigarette smoking is going down, and funnily enough, I mean, there's even propositions from our leftist parties here to start legalizing marijuana so that they can get on that tax load as well. Anyway, I mean, people really never go away. I mean, in that respect, I mean, if you can't use one cash cow, you'll get another one, won't you? And I mean, smoking, like it or not, was a good cash cow. One of the questions was, what about secondhand smoke? You know, does it cause any issues? I'm certain it does. The fact is that actually it's just not so, it's not pleasant. I mean, for the secondhand smoker, of course. I happen to see Bob's response, and I mean, I do absolutely agree on one thing, is that if the smoker has already staked his ground and is smoking, and someone else comes up, well, I mean, it's just a bit tough. I mean, that's what I respect in that respect, the smoker's, I would say, territory. And if the person was there first, well, I guess, I mean, I just have to put up with it, or, you know, go away. Okay, so that's what I'm thinking about smoking. I mean, in the one hand is that in our home, I mean, we don't actually allow anyone to smoke in the house. We just don't want to have the smell of tobacco in the house, and that's actually quite common here. I have a lot of friends who are smokers, and they don't actually smoke in their own home because they themselves say that, you know, they don't like the smell of coal smoke. Anyway, so when we have smokers come over, they have to smoke on the grounds. And actually, funnily enough, that's often when they go out for a smoke, I always follow them because that's kind of chat. Reminds me of the old days. What else about smoking? I mean, do I think tobacco companies use additives? Well, you know, it's like anything. I mean, there's additives in foods, there's additives probably in tobacco as well. And it just makes the thing more, maybe more addictive, but it also makes it more sexy. I mean, you know, I mean, if a cigarette supposedly has something that attracts you, you want to go for it, don't you? And it's the same with just about everything. Yeah, you see, I don't have much to say about smoking, actually. I mean, it's a person's liberty. I mean, he's free to smoke, he or she is free to smoke. In a way, it's a bit like if I take a drink, I'm free or not to drink. They both can turn into addictions. I don't know if you can get, I mean, if you drink and drive, it's dangerous. If you smoke and drive, I would actually say up to a point it's less dangerous unless you're using both hands to light up. Okay, that's all about smoking. Like I said, I don't have that much to say about smoking. Yesterday I got a little envelope. You can see it. Now, this was from somebody, I knew who it was from the address, of course, but it said YouTube friend alert. That was 2 little stars, American flag here. And it was from Melissa. And I won't actually read all the details, but it was to thank me for the little package I sent her, and there's some really little nice words in here. Melissa, thank you. Today, by the way, is Melissa's birthday, and I'd like to say happy birthday for a great lady. Happy birthday to you, happy birthday to you, happy birthday dear Melissa, happy birthday to you. And that's certainly a happy birthday from all the YouTube community. Melissa, we love you a lot. And now I'm going to try and close this and go and upload it. Okay, YouTubers, well, that's DC signing off. Take care.